The two girls shared the same birthday. The elder received a luxurious, expensive piece of jewelry, while the younger one got nothing but a truck filled with instant noodles. The guests burst out laughing, thinking the little one was unloved. But no one knew the father was doing all this to save her. In his previous life, during the apocalypse, the man had cherished his adopted daughter for 18 years. But she had joined forces with her boyfriend to drive him out of his own home and steal all the supplies. Looking at the daughter he had loved so deeply, become so cruel, he was consumed by regret. To save resources for his adopted daughter, he had once kicked out his own biological child. And now, misfortune had fallen upon him. Just when he thought he was going to die, the girl he had always despised came back to save him. But in such a hostile world, he couldn't hold on for long. Before taking his last breath, the man swore, "If I could start over, I would treat her as the most precious daughter in the world." When he opened his eyes again, he had miraculously been reborn. A few days before the end of the world, seeing his adopted daughter come to ask for pocket money, he slapped her without hesitation. Her crying immediately brought his wife and mother-in-law, who began to insult him. He swallowed his anger, because now he knew the truth. The adopted child was actually his wife's and her lover's biological daughter. This time, he would make them all pay for their betrayal. Pretending he had only tried to kill a mosquito, he handed the girl a bank card worth 100,000 euros. Delighted, she thanked him, while his shy biological daughter explained that she needed money to pay for school lunch. The man hesitated, then handed her a 10-euro bill. Before he was ready, he still needed to let her endure a bit more injustice. 3 days later, it was the two girls' birthday. He gave his secretary the list of gifts to buy. The big day arrived. The adopted daughter was dressed like a princess, while the biological one looked like a servant. To humiliate her, the adopted girl ordered her to polish her shoes. The young girl was about to become the laughingstock of everyone, until her father finally made his entrance. The adopted daughter rushed to him, eager for her gift. He told his secretary to bring a sewing robot worth 1 million euros. The biological daughter, meanwhile, received a cheap tracksuit, more practical for running and escaping. Then he invited everyone outside and presented the second set of gifts: a luxurious villa for the adopted daughter and an old, dilapidated basement for the younger one. The guests burst into laughter. His wife and mother-in-law even suggested that the biological daughter should move out immediately. The man agreed without hesitation. That basement, which he had secretly built at great expense, was actually a disaster-proof underground shelter. Then came the third gift: shining gold jewelry. The adopted daughter was ecstatic, eager to see what the other girl had received. She watched as a truck drove into the yard. Curious, she opened the doors and burst into laughter. The vehicle was filled with canned food, noodles, and bottled water. The guests mocked even louder, but the father smiled coldly. He knew there were only 3 minutes left before the end of the world. Soon, money would be worthless, and these supplies would become priceless treasures. He ordered the guards to move the provisions into the basement and handed his biological daughter her final gift: a stock transfer contract. While the adopted daughter and her family rejoiced, he gave the younger one another document, a certificate severing family ties. The adopted girl, thinking she would now become the main heiress, jumped with joy, but the man announced coldly that from this day forward, they had no relation at all. Furious, she called him insane and swore she would expel him from the clan. He laughed. All his wealth had already been invested into the underground shelter. She would inherit nothing. Suddenly, lightning split the sky. The man understood. The end had come. He grabbed his biological daughter and ran toward the basement. As for the adopted daughter, just when she thought she had finally gotten rid of that burden, the sight before her eyes froze her in terror.